we had a discussion about what we did with our multiple Becks today.
Well, this Beck got to introduce the other Beck. Hey, I'd love to introduce Rebecca Green, or Beck Green, who's the head of Social Procurement Services at Social Trader, and also Melissa Duong, who's the Social Procurement Advisors at Social Traders. And both of them are just going to take us through some of the things that we've learned in the last session. So over to you, Mel and Beck.
Thanks, Beck, and thanks, Miranda. And I was ready. I was absolutely here and ready. So when I heard my name, I was like, yes. So we're going to take you through just a short exercise using Slido. There were 4 key themes in that topic, as well as our earlier sessions, and we want to know what your insights are. We want to know what excited you. We want to know what your takeaways are. So what we're going to do, if you follow the link that Mel has put in the chat, or you can scan your phone. If you were in the policy breakout room, we'd love to hear a key reflection from you. What was something that you heard that got you pondering, got you, maybe it was annoyed, maybe it was inspired, maybe it was, this is why it's hard for me, or this is why I can see what's going on in a certain area. But and I think we'll be seeing their responses as they come up. You should be able to type in some of your reflections, and for all of these, it is it's a sentence or so. So the sector has power. This sector has power. This sector is powerful in the data that shows the incredible impact that we have on humans' lives and on our environment. That's fantastic. Yep. And getting started, absolutely. We use this in most of our training. Just get started, just do something. Connections is resonating for someone, and targets change behavior. They sure do. You will see evidence of that in our latest Trends and Insights report. Targets drive change. Great to hear about the international space. That's fantastic. And also excellent to know that you're meeting other social enterprises through this online event. Fantastic. Our session was on collaboration. It was on place-based work. So great to hear that came up in policy as well. And harnessing the power of procurement to drive outcomes. We talk about this so much. I feel like it should be so exciting. And it's also beautiful to hear about the relationships that are forming through this work. And it's so true. It's around the impact, not just policy and process. The policy can drive the impact, but need to be able to focus on the impact as well. That's fantastic. Thank you. That will stay live, so you can keep popping it in. But we also want to hear from people who were in the second breakout, which was barriers. One of my favorite things to talk about. I know Mon and Mel would have had a great session. And Mel, I'm sorry, you were talking about this. Once you give me the microphone, it's very hard for me to stop talking. So Mel, I'll hand over to you to talk us through people and their actions from the discussion on barriers.
Thanks, Beck.
And you're not my Mel. That's very possessive either. Sorry about that.
I'll be your Mel. Yeah, so I'm also very passionate about this topic. I think everyone is. We all love to talk about the challenges that we face, especially in a sector that, naturally by default comes with a lot of challenges. So it's good to, I guess, share those concerns with everybody and just bounce our ideas off each other. I can see everyone's typing and sending through some insights already. Yeah, I totally agree. Sometimes you do need just one champion in an organization, and that one champion can take the organization such a long way. I've definitely witnessed that myself in a member that works with us, or in multiple members that work with us, really. And it's quite amazing to see how that one champion can have such an influence on the social procurement culture of that entire organization and take it to such amazing places. Really, really good insight. If someone says no, find out why. We love that. These are actually really interesting insights, because it's things that I personally wouldn't have thought about right off the bat. So I find it really interesting to think about if we identify barriers closely and we examine them, are they real, or are they just perceived? And just kind of breaking down that barrier to really dissect if it's really a real barrier, or if it's just something that, you know, is a surface level barrier that we don't have to really focus on so much.
It's fantastic to see some of the actions that are being taken away from this barriers discussion. Always have a bit of FOMO when there's choices of rooms that you go to. I loved my room, but there's some really great learnings here. Mel, do you want to keep us going with the marketing session?
Yeah, so we will open the marketing poll now. I was in the marketing room, a super exciting room. We got to hear from Who Gives a Crap, we got to hear from Homie, The Social Story, and Brandkind. It was quite exciting to hear about how these brands market themselves, both on a small scale and on a large scale, and just hear about how The Social Story and Brandkind actually help other social enterprises share their brand as well. So it was really insightful to hear about those those strategies and techniques that they take on. I can see people are typing and adding things in. Yeah, I totally agree. Keep storytelling tight and authentic. That was one of the takeaways that I heard from the room. It's such a unique way to approach it, and because we have so many stories in this sector, it's such a great space to share those stories and, you know, market with those stories. So yeah, totally on board with that. Understanding your target market, absolutely. I think I heard one of our speakers say that failing is part of their culture, which I think is quite powerful, because you need to fail to do it right? And it might be fail in the test runs, it might be fail in the official runs, but failing to get there eventually is such a huge step, and that really stood out to me. And I definitely think, yeah, help is a bit like first official time.
I'm also loving that some of these learnings are around that often we're talking to a new audience. I've reflected that this is a really big, amazing group of people who get why we're here and what we're trying to do, but there's a lot of people to educate and bring on into this fold. What's going to resonate with them? It's going to cut through their busy days. A lot of learnings in the marketing session. Thank you. We might move on to the place-based session now, and same thing, we'd love to hear from you. Share an insight, something that you learned, something that inspired you, something that you're going to take away to your own place-based social enterprise hub. There are a couple of comments on would love to see them in Malakuta, invites to go down to Frankston. I've invited myself up to Mildura, but please, love to hear from those that were in the room. What's an insight that you took away from that session?
As usual, we have a few people sharing their insights, and I can see a few who are adding more.
The infrastructure, the place being there, and then all the amazing initiatives and amazing impacts that were occurring. Sammy was talking about 14 jobs being created in Mildura, and Luella was talking about some of the amazing circular innovative innovations that were going on around waste with the Queen Vic markets and all the 40 social enterprises who've got their goods in there. So fantastic. A lot of discussion around partners. None of that work was done independently. It was a lot of partners and collaborators to work with. Hubs can deliver on so many initiatives, they can, and people want somewhere to go as well. Opportunities for people and businesses to work together, and different types of people and businesses as well. I think that's a really beautiful thing that we heard from both of those examples. And persistence and timing. This is not the only time that you're going to hear from me this afternoon, and you're going to hear about persistence and timing a couple more times. That was clear with both of them. Beck was talking about 10 years, 12 years talking to City of Melbourne, saying this is possible, how exciting. And all of it, that point on end users being involved in design and in the collaboration, absolutely, really, really valuable. And so, Mel, in these days, can't have a summit without a word cloud, right?
That's right. So we'll finish off by talking about giving us one word that describes how you feel about the purpose economy. This far along in the session today, just give us one word, and we'll reflect on that one word a little bit later as well. So we might change that word later on. But thinking about something that just encapsulates how you feel about the purpose economy at this point in the session. It's quite tricky.
Mel and Beck, I want to give a huge shout out to you and the whole Social Traders team. We're rolling with the punches with any tech issues. And could you imagine trying to do this pre-COVID?
No.
I feel like we're so just calm and collected. So thank you, team, for just kind of making all this tech work.
I'm with you on that, Beck. I think, yeah, there's a lot of beauty in being able to come together. I love that we've got regional representation here. And I love that we're, like you said, just rolling with some of the issues that come up. And I'm busy working out my one word, inspired and inspiring. But yes, great to see these. And thanks for that shout out, Beck.
There's a couple of people adding them in the chat as well, which you're more than welcome to do.
Fab.
One word is one word. It can be in the word cloud or, of course, in the chat, whatever's more comfortable for you. Well, I'm looking around the word cloud. I don't see bored in there, so that's a really good sign. I'm glad everyone's feeling inspired and hopeful.
Yeah, united. That's a beautiful one, and connected. Yep, and a lot around.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful cloud. I feel like we all need that as our screensavers on those days where you're feeling like, what the heck are we doing? You just want to know that, hey, I've got this amazing kind of group hug of positivity here. It's gorgeous.
Too right. Thanks, everyone. Great to get those insights.
Well, thanks, Mel and Beck. Absolutely wonderful to hear all that. That's a really lovely way to go into our next session. Because I'm going to talk about love and nurturing and growth. So it feels like a good segue. I don't know about you guys, but I know I can say hand on heart, without the existence of sector intermediaries, my own social enterprise street wouldn't have ever even made it through startup. We've used intermediaries every single year of our growth, and whether or not that's kind of helping with strategy or designing our business models or securing impact investment, or just every part of our organization has had love and a group hug from intermediaries. But I can't believe that this year we not only have intermediaries, but we also have a national peak body. That is just spine chilling, and I can't tell you how excited I am about that. And whilst our peak body, Social Enterprise Australia, has only just turned one, a bit like the Matildas who kicked so many awesome goals this last year and kind of won our hearts over, Social Enterprise Australia has done exactly the same thing. And of course it was going to, because it's been led by the beautiful Jess Moore. Jess, I have to say, is one of those amazing humans. Of course, she's got social and ecological justice kind of at her core. But she's a really multilingual person that speaks not only social enterprise, but community development and public policy and environment. So she has many, many strings to her bow. Over the years, I've spent many, many hours having conversations with Jess, dreaming, many of them in the middle of the night when we haven't stopped talking and kept on yarning. And one of the things that I've always really loved about Jess is that I can soar with her in the clouds and imagine the future of the social enterprise sector, and we can go and inhabit what's possible for the sector. But Jess is like a kite. She's always tethered to the ground, always tethered in community to people, anchored alongside people, and able to do that kind of ground and sky thing that I think is just a superpower. Absolutely love it a bits, and I'm so glad that she's leading our national peak body. So on that note, I'd love to invite the lovely Jess Moore to come and join the lovely Tara Anderson, and together what they're going to talk about is how intermediaries and the national peak body are going to work more together. Over to you, Jess.
Far out, that's one hell of an intro, Beck, and I hope for everyone's sake today I could live up to it in this moment. Tara's actually going to kick us off, but But to you, Beck, I want to say thank you and all of that back at you, because you are one of the big brains I constantly reach out to when I'm finding my way through tricky questions.
Beautiful introduction, Beck. Thank you. And, I think we're so lucky in the social enterprise sector to have wonderful leaders, in all directions. And Jess absolutely being one of those, and you too, Beck. So we had a little taster this morning of federal government from Dr. Daniel Molino about what's been happening from his perspective. But what we wanted to dive into a little bit more now is what's been going on behind the scenes, which in summary is a lot. But we wanted to talk a bit more about some of the background to, the last year of work in the social enterprise sector, and particularly, for us at Social Traders. I mentioned our heart set of collaboration, but one of our values is collaborative connectors. We can't build a thriving social enterprise sector alone. So we've been really supportive of the development of Social Enterprise Australia. I'm on the board there, and we work closely together. And we do that because we share the objective of growing the impact of the social enterprise sector. So it's wonderful to have you here, Jess, to talk a little bit more about our joint work. So take us through some of the stuff that's been happening, and we'll talk at the end about some next steps.
Now, just to kick off, and it always feels hilarious saying this, I'm going to try and keep it brief because today's running slightly behind. But the key thing I want to kick off with is the sector set a really ambitious vision and mission for itself last year. The sector's vision is working together to ensure all people, places, and the planet thrive. And our mission is to foster a vibrant and connected Australian social enterprise sector that provides environmental care, people-centred services, access to decent work, and community-led innovation. Right now, to work together towards those things, we're really working towards two goals. So the first is to grow government understanding, engagement, and investment in social enterprise. And the second is for the sector to develop its collective capability and capacity and to work together towards shared goals. In my mind, when I say those two things, I think it's about what do we need to change in the external environment to unlock the impact of the sector, and what do we need to do for ourselves to unlock the impact of the sector. Early this year, with people across social enterprise, we developed an offer and ask of the federal government. It said, we seek a federal social enterprise strategy, one informed and powered by a partnership between the sector and government. We see this as being challenge-led, focusing on national priorities where social enterprise can make a big contribution. We see the strategy being underpinned by data and certification. We also see it incorporating social procurement, access to finance, outcome payments, and capability building. We have been working with people across the sector towards this. Given Social Traders are the certifier of social enterprises in Australia, collect and share data on all certified social enterprises, and specialise in social procurement, advocating for what the sector says is needed together has been critical.
Pretty cool. Nice summary. So some of the things that we're starting to see now is that there's a shift in momentum. We're actually starting to have a change in conversation with government from what's a social enterprise, let me explain that, to how do we unlock the impact of social enterprise? How can we build it in? And you're hearing from Daniel Molino this morning, that was pretty clear. So it's lovely to see that change. There's been many years and many organisations involved in this advocacy work, and social enterprises themselves, to see this shift play out. And behind the scenes over the last year, Social Traders and Social Enterprise Australia and many others have been doing submissions, attending public hearings, going to meetings with MPs, talking to policymakers, building ongoing trust and relationships. We held an event in March at Parliament House for all people from across all of government to attend. So there's a huge amount of work happening, and we're starting to now see some impact from that, which is, like Jess said, pretty cool.
And it's not just that we're doing lots of things, it's that we are seeing tangible inroads for the sector. So the $24.6 million economic pathways to refugee integration funding, which is for social enterprises to achieve economic participation outcomes for refugees and humanitarian entrants. The launch of the $3.8 million PBO trial led by White Box Enterprises that's being delivered by 16 job-focused social enterprises, generating employment outcomes for people with a disability. This year's federal budget, including the $11.6 million Social Enterprise Development Initiative and the $100 million Outcomes Fund. The government is working with the sector to inform its design of the Social Enterprise Development Initiative. The inclusion, and this one's just happened, in the white paper on jobs and opportunities of social enterprise. It states that government will build on work underway with the social enterprise sector, the Outcomes Fund and the Social Enterprise Development Initiative to back social enterprise to provide more employment and training opportunities for Australians facing disadvantage. And just in the last couple of weeks, the new local jobs program naming social enterprises supporting young people into employment as a priority area and including other priority areas relevant to social enterprise. And of course, that's not even to name the many and different ways that government is investing in individual enterprises where they're creating impact.
I continue the work is the summary of what's happening next, but there's lots of conversations in progress that we'll continue with Treasury, including the Tackling Entrenched Disadvantage Task Force. That must be the best part of government to work in, I reckon, anyway. Finance and the Made in Australia Office, Home Affairs, Employment, Disability. We're talking across all of these portfolios. The same conversation about how do we activate social enterprise and how do we work towards that national strategy piece that Jess outlined. And we have another event at Parliament House on the 20th of March next year. So we're just early stages planning towards that one, but that's where we hope we can bring together all of these various conversations and have a joint conversation with everyone in the room. So takeouts from here, it takes all of us to do this. It takes a village to raise the social enterprise sector or something. We need all of us sharing the same message, sharing the same agenda, using the same language and words, sharing the data that we have to talk about why this is important and needed. We've all got circles of influence. We need to activate those and play into them as much as we can. The social enterprises standing proud and talking about the social and environmental value you create. For business, putting weighting towards social and environmental outcomes and celebrating and talking about that work. And for government, creating that policy environment and supporting the national strategy work. Collectively, we can take big steps forward to making social enterprise business as usual when we do this together. And just a shout out to Jess and Social Enterprise Australia. Working in partnership has been just a wonderful, enjoyable experience over the last year, if nothing else. But that solidarity and working towards the bigger picture change that we're all aiming for, it's why we get out of bed in the morning. It's been great. So thank you for that.
All right. Thank you so much, Tara and Jess. So wonderful to hear the ways that just got to pop up there. Our two organisations are working together. We're about to go to another pop-out breakout room prompted by a pop-up. We are running a little bit pressed for time, so this is going to be slightly shorter. And we've heard a lot about collaboration and partnership and wins and all the good stuff. And Beck, that's just all it is, right? You're a social procurement practitioner on the ground. It's just win after win, right?
I wish all the relationships were smooth, but sadly no. So this is your opportunity to talk about some of the war wounds as well. I think some of the relationships I guess we've had over time, as an enterprise have been a bit more, swipe left and swipe right, a bit more transactional. Other times they feel a bit friends with benefits. You get this last moment phone call as someone's about to put in their tender and, quickly asking you to join. And I think there's so much opportunity to deepen our relationships. Miranda, I won't go into it now, but I know you and I laughed our heads off so much last week when we were talking about, as two queers, we would love to see the queering of social procurement relationships, We are particularly good at creating hybrid families that don't look like normal, your average family. When you split up from your ex, you're with your ex's ex, and you all still stay friends forever. And you're just determined that you're going to create, a lot of love in a big bubble. I've been reflecting on that. And I think, I feel like, Miranda, you and I are probably going to reflect on this some more, but I do think there's opportunities to start to think about how we do relationships more deeply, relationships of trust, not just of transaction, and those obviously grow over time. So these two rooms, this conversation is where you can really talk about some of the things that you've experienced, both as someone going for social procurement tenders, but also government working with others on this as well.
Thanks so much, Beck. And yes, do stay tuned for our querying of procurement session, which will be held at a TBD time and place. But we are going to break you into social enterprises and into business and government. So room 1 is going to be with Monique, and we're going to talk about a really specific challenge here. So it's around this kind of perennial issue of social enterprises being too small for procurement. Let's get real about these challenges and talk about some of the opportunities to overcome them. And room 2, this is going to be with Alex Hook, and this is going to be social enterprises, again, tackling this same issue. So room 1, business and government members or non-social enterprises. Room 2, social enterprises. Hope I've made that clear this time. We don't want a repeat of the earlier session, but please feel free to hit that button as it relates to you, and we will see you back here in 15 minutes. We're near long enough to talk about some of those conversations and challenges. I can hear very robust conversations going on either side of me. So I'm quickly going to throw to Beck, who's going to do some quick feedback on what you've learned and what you've heard.
And it's the right Beck that you're talking about this time,
yes.
Or rather I'm responding to the right Beck. So same activity. Thank you, everyone. It's going to be a different Slido QR code that will be coming up on the screen shortly, and you'll see it in the chat. But there was a lively discussion and debate in our room. Thank you to everyone who contributed. We'd love to know from you, what's a question that you're taking away? What's something that's in your mind where, there's lots of ideas that we've heard today and it's prompted some thinking, and what are you thinking about now, having been through these sessions? The code will come up in just a moment. There it is. Thank you. And it's in the chat. We'll see some of the responses that you're thinking about, questions that you still want answered, problems that you're still trying to solve. We'll all have work for some time in this sector, no doubt. So hopefully some of the questions are going to be coming through. We'll throw to Mel to see what we've got coming up.
We've got quite a few people typing, so I think they're definitely coming.
Excellent.
Not sure if we'll be able to answer every single question.
Oh no, we're not answering any of the questions in this one. We want to know your questions. We're going to take them away. We're going to study them. We're going to play things back. What's a short-term contract? Yep, that's a very good practical question. Oh my goodness, these are great. Encouraging buyers to weigh up the risk versus value when working with social enterprises. I think that was from the room that we were in. And great to see some questions that look to be coming from business members thinking about how can you make your contract terms more accessible? And again, with governments, what can governments do to make tender processes more accessible? And how do we get more CFOs understanding social value? Absolutely. These are great. I think, a lot of these conversations were coming up in our room, and I'm possibly in Alex's room as well. This is great. Keep typing in the questions. Conversation doesn't end with this summit. It's a sector that's very connected, and we'll still work to be addressing some of these questions. This is fantastic. Thank you. And Mel, I'll throw to you for our last word cloud, second last word cloud.
Thank you. So similar to what we did just now before, we're going to do another word cloud, and it's really just the same sort of thing where I want you to share with us, one word that describes how you're feeling about the purpose economy, particularly after the session that we were just in. So I know that a big theme from the last one was inspired, hopeful, everyone felt connected. We kind of want to hear, I mean, if it's the same, it's not bad news. The last one was fantastic, so we wouldn't be mad if we saw the same words, but particularly after the session that we just came out of just now, how do we feel? What's a one-word way to describe that? I already have a few things coming through. A little bit different from the last one, actually, which it's a still positive difference, no pun intended. But yeah, we just want to hear what are you feeling now, and use it as a reflective piece compared to the last word cloud that we had before. Collaborative, love that. I think that's a huge one, particularly with the topics that we talked about before, with how to support our social enterprises, how our business government can advocate and benefit. Challenged, okay.
I think that makes sense. This was that session we were just in. It was deliberately designed to talk about some of the really challenging work that we get to kind of navigate our way through. Nice to see that coming through, as well as the collaboration, positive, super queer, I love it. Opportunities for small enterprises.
I really love how different this one is actually from the last word cloud that we did. Lots of different words. Clearly the session we just came out of, left quite an impression on you and really helped shape how you felt about purpose economy, which is fantastic. I saw in there super queer in capitals. Love it.
And still some confusion, some thinking. There's pensive, curious. Good to have that kind of, questioning mindset with this. That's fantastic. Thank you. Now I think I'm going to throw to Tara because we're at a really, really exciting part of the afternoon. Miranda and I had a brief chat about the awards earlier, and we were just going, they're great. The awards are great. They do take a lot of work. It's really rewarding work, and it's really worthwhile work because it lets us all celebrate the incredible work and the challenging work and the rewarding work that you all do. So thank you very much for doing all the work that you do. And Tara, over to you.
Right, so this is our last session of the day, and this is the one where we get to stop and celebrate all of the work that's happening. So we've had some different flow throughout the day. That last conversation was a little bit about overcoming some barriers and challenges. But now, speaking of collegiate from that word cloud, this is where we get to celebrate those in the sector that are doing really incredible work in the space. All of those people out there that are proving that doing good and doing business are not mutually exclusive. It's entirely possible, theme of this summit. So this is our 10th year of awards. And our awards this year focus on social procurement work that's a genuine partnership between business and government and social enterprise, and is really innovative in its approach. So we called them the game changers for a reason. And today is all about the national award winner. So this is the National Trailblazer Award winner for 2023. And what we've done over the last couple of months is we've announced state-based finalists. So we've been travelling all over Australia. We've had great fun in Melbourne, Adelaide, Sydney, Brisbane, where we've announced the winners of our local state awards. And we partnered with the state social enterprise networks to help select those winners. We'll just give you a little bit of a taste of some of those events so you can get a feel for how those events played out, and then we'll get on to announcing our national winner for today. Just be having a little bit of a challenge with the sound. The joys of technology. Great when it works and super fun when it doesn't. But I'm sure we can all relate to some of these challenges over the last few years. I think the background on this one is music anyway, so you can get a sense of seeing some of the photos, some of the quotes here for people that attended the awards and what that experience was like. gives you a bit of a flavour of all of the fun we've been having out celebrating winners right across Australia. So before we announce the national winner for today, I'm going to hand over to some of the Social Traders team to share our finalists and a little bit about why they won in their states. So kick us off with Marlena and Sash talking about our Vic and Taz Award winner.
Thanks, Tara. So what an amazing time we had at the Game Changer Awards in Melbourne. And it was great to see so many of you showing up and making business connections on the night. A big thank you to Co-Grant for catering on the night, and also to Goodwill Wines for the tasty wines that we drank. And now to the 3 finalists for Victoria and Tasmania. We had Assembled Threads and Icon Construction, Women Can and Kinetic Group, and Travellers Aid Australia and Yarra Tramps. And the winners of the 2023 Victoria and Tasmania Game Changer Awards were Assembled Threads and Icon Construction. And now I'll pass on to Sash to talk further about their amazing collaboration.
Thanks, Marlena. So in 2022, Icon proudly entered into a circular economy partnership with Recycling Victoria and social enterprise Assembled Threads. Assembled Threads supports long-term unemployment and disadvantaged backgrounds, recruiting particularly amongst women from culturally and linguistically diverse communities, including the North Melbourne social housing community. Specialising in the manufacturing of PPE and high-vis vests, Assembled Threads received the Recycling Victoria Communities Fund Grant from the Victorian Government through Sustainability Victoria for the Towards Circular High Visibility Apparel project. Assembled Threads provided one of Icon's teams with 60 high-vis vests to be worn while working across the construction sites. And when vests reach the end of their useful life, Assembled Threads recycle those vests, decreasing textile waste in landfill by 90 grams per vest. Through early engagement and exploration, the collaboration grew substantially in the past 12 months, from 60 high-vis vests through bespoke contracts to now a national ongoing supply agreement of over 800 vests. How amazing is that? So a big congratulations again to Assembled Threads and Icon. And it was a truly amazing. Shows what starting small can lead into bigger and better things. So really good to see that collaboration. And with Victoria and Tasmania kicking off the awards, we then travelled to Adelaide for the South Australia and Western Australia Game Changer Awards. And Nicola will share a little bit more about our 3 finalists there.
Great, thanks, Sash. Yeah, what an amazing evening we had at the South Australian and Western Australian Game Changer Awards, which was held at the National Wine Centre in Adelaide. The venue was beautiful and we were treated to fantastic entertainment by the incredibly talented Lucinda Grace. Also, a big shout out to Goodwill Wines for providing us with their delicious wines, which added an extra touch of class to the event. It's safe to say that our guests had such a great time they just simply didn't want to leave. Now let's get to the main reason that we're here to celebrate the finalists of the South Australian and Western Australian Game Changer Awards. The finalists were Dismantle and Carden, Taboo and the City of Adelaide, and Blend Creative and Australia Post. And I'm sure you're all interested to find out who the winners are, so I'll hand over to Amy to announce the winners. Amy, the stage is all yours.
Thanks so much, Nicola. And yeah, it was an amazing night. A huge thanks to everyone who came. But the winners of the South Australian and Western Australian Game Changer Awards were Blend Creative and Australia Post. So Blend Creative is a certified social enterprise and socially inclusive design studio that's been providing real work opportunities to designers with a disability since 1990. Blend Creative was engaged by Australia Post, who we all know is one of our iconic Australian organisations and one of our Social Traders members, to design their accessibility and inclusion plan to ensure that the plan could reach to the widest audience possible in an engaging and accessible and meaningful way. Sharon Carroll from the Australia Post was passionate about bringing in the lived experience voice to the creation of the plan content and reviewing other concepts and iterations as they came through. So having the lived experience voice present within the concept for Australia Post for the content creation and having Blend Creative for design development of the plan meant that the validity and the authenticity of the accessibility and inclusion plan really shone through. So the collaboration and procurement opportunity within Australia Post not only enabled Blend Creative to provide over 96 hours of targeted training and creative skills development to staff with disabilities involved in this project, but also resulted in Sharon introducing Blend Creative to other areas in Australia Post that are now opening up conversations and procurement opportunities to drive more shared impact between Blend Creative and Australia Post into the future. So join me in congratulating our South Australian, Western Australian Game Changer Award winners for this wonderful partnership and this well-deserved recognition. So huge congratulations. And now I'm very excited to hand over to the team in Brisbane, to Matt, who's going to share what the wrap-up of the Queensland and Northern Territory Game Changer Awards were.
Thank you, Amy and Nick. Also reporting from the lovely, warm and sunny Queensland. We had an amazing time that night at the Brisbane City Hall, with all the thanks to the catering and the amazing venue to hire from the Brisbane City Council. It's really an amazing night. It's a little bit of buzz around in the room. So the three finalists we're starting off with Yoga Inside and the Corrective Services of Queensland. So that was delivered some yoga service to prisoners. That was a really awesome experience for them. Our second finalist is actually the Multicultural Professional Network and the Brisbane City Council to deliver the workshops in the Brisbane Business Hub. So the winner over in Queensland was Natural Pacific and Lend-Lease Community. That was really, really awesome experience. I delivered in partnership. It's a second example. So they have been working together at least over 8 years, working on a project here in South East Queensland to save and endangered species, including Northern Sea from a development area. You know, a lot of growth happening in our community. So they collected all the seeds and support with the community as well. Queensland Corrective Services had added to that program to the big partner to work on transporting the seeds to the prisoner and do some work around training in horticulture with Queensland Takes. When instructed, the helping train in propagating seeds and nurturing it to raising seedlings and native plants. It's really beautiful. And they actually supported that program into conversation areas of multiple projects around the region that are working with a program delivered by Natural Pacific. So the impact of created the project was multifaceted, environmental, community, educational, transformational, and preparative ways. So to date, they have collected over 7 million seeds from 137 species of trees. That's saved so far. That is really awesome. And have grew over 43,000 plants. Going out 54 different locations from across the region and state. Working with 11 environmental scientists, 20 university interns, and of course 25 prisoners to help to grow the plant at 3 correctional centres in the region as well. Working with landscapers and the community volunteering, participating in planning. It's an amazing collaborative project. Well done. And now I will go heading south. I will pass it on to New South Wales team. We're reporting from Sydney.
Thanks, Matthew. So following Queensland, as Matt just said, we then came to Sydney. Our Sydney Game Changer Awards night went off without a hitch, and we filled the event space to capacity at Too Good Code's venue in Euromara Place in Darlinghurst, with 80 attendees joining us to celebrate social procurement with Too Good Code catering and once again a Goodwill wine in hand. It was really a fantastic night, seeing partnerships grow and connections start, with the night being supported by our partners Westpac. So thanks again to Westpac for supporting the Game Changer Awards night in Sydney and today's summit and announcement of the National Trailblazers Award, which I'm about to get to. Before that though, our finalists in New South Wales and ACT was Mira Mitiga Limited with Transurban Adventure, Played It Forward with Mirvac, and Youngster Co with ISPT. And Rewa, the New South Wales ACT winner was?
It was Played It Forward and Mirvac. Congratulations again to the team at Played It Forward and Mirvac. So for many, many years, Played It Forward and Mirrorback have worked together to create a flourishing and exciting partnership that maintains Played It Forward's mission to support the needs of vulnerable communities across Sydney as they continue to grow in both scale and impact. After many procurement opportunities and building a relationship through trust, Mirrorback offered many commercial kitchen locations across Sydney to Played It Forward during COVID. This enabled them to expand their operations of offering meals to the most vulnerable communities. During this time, Played It Forward tripled its operations and launched a chef training program called Ability Social that saw 58,000 hours of employment for refugees and asylum seekers. To date, Played It Forward and Mirrorback's partnership has seen 443,000 meals donated to those in need, and has paid $2.7 million in wages. So massive congratulations again to the team at Played It Forward and Mirrorback. If you'd like to support this partnership and support Played It Forward yourself, they have restaurants across Sydney in both South Eveleigh, Alexandria, Enmore, Broadway, and the CBD as well. So now I hope you all are very, very excited like I am. I'm now going to hand back to Tara, who's going to announce our National Trailblazer Awards.
All right, we've got 4 super exciting finalists. No one knows who's won. It's a big secret for most of the Social Traders team as well. We wanted this to be the big reveal. Jess from Social Enterprise Australia and I worked on the judging for this together with the Social Traders team. So it's a joint effort to help us pick amongst those very worthy finalists. But to announce our winner today, we have a very special guest joining us, Wahida Masturi from Too Good Co, who were last year's winners of our national award. So we thought it would be fitting for them to pass the baton to the 2023 winners. So without further ado, please tell us who has won this year's awards.
Very exciting, guys. Thanks for letting me come and make this grand announcement. So obviously, winning last year's award, we were very, very proud and, to be recognized because, there's so much, great game changers, here in the room. But I'm here to announce that the new winners and passing the baton for 2023 are Assembled Threads and Icon Construction. Congratulations.
Amazing work. Assembled Threads and Icon, huge congratulations. Very well-deserving winners. Super hard to choose, as I mentioned, but some of the reasons that we selected this as the winner were the genuine collaboration in developing an entirely new product as part of this partnership, the really innovative approach from Icon in working with social traders to help build an assessment matrix for suppliers to value social benefit and environmental benefit, not just cost. The flow and impact. So Icon reviewed all of its recurrent spend and it's converted all its clothing, safety and PPE to social benefit suppliers. So it's now flowing right across the organisation. And Assembled Threads now has a national contract off the back of this partnership. And it's double impact. It's our favourite type of social enterprise, reducing landfill and also working with people from CALD communities that face barriers to employment. Huge congratulations. We're just going to show a quick video about this partnership so you can learn a little bit more about it. And then I'm super excited to have Edwina and Nicole with us today to answer a few questions with some top tips for everyone else about what made this partnership work. But first off, let's hear a little bit more about it.
My name is Susie. I work in assembly trade. I do sewing, cutting, overlock, banding, everything.
My name is Hyatt. I do PC quality checks. I live that building here, very close, next door. The workplace is me. It's a comfort place. I feel comfortable to come here in the morning. It's a second home. We have that love and care and respect as well. It is a place you be like happy to go.
When I'm young, I just try sewing by my hand, dress. So I try by myself without someone teaching me. And then when I heard about sample trade, straight away I come here. I'm so happy.
That's just a little snapshot of the reason that this matters. This is the impact that's created at the end of the day from partnerships like this. So Edwina from Assembled Threads, Nicole from Icon, congratulations. A couple of questions for you to help unpack for the audience, you know, what made this a winning partnership from your perspective. So just to Assembled Thread first, for others in the room that are thinking about partnering with corporate buyers, what made it possible for you to win this contract? What happened on your side?
Look, I think it is really, really difficult for small enterprises. So listening to what everyone's been throwing up today to actually get seen and get heard and get in front of large corporates. I know we were hitting a lot of barriers. So the way that we did it was to go, okay, we have this great product. How can we actually get it in front of people? And I saw a sustainability grant. So Sustainability Victoria sponsored us to make 1,000 vests, which meant we were giving these vests made out of recycled fibres, which automatically brings its carbon footprint down by 30%, give them free to corporates and to governments to on the big build projects to actually wear test. And so they could see that it was a commercial product. And that was our way of getting in front and starting that nurturing of the relationship. But we were incredibly lucky with Icon, where they have such an incredible leader in Nicole. So she then took it to the next stage and said, well, okay, these vests are commercial. Can we do business with you? And I'll throw to you, Nicole, to take over from your side.
Oh, wow. I don't really know what to say. And I'm a bit embarrassed. I'm in the side office at the moment. So now I feel like I'm a bit embarrassed. But thank you so much for the honour. What a thrill. And to Edwina and the amazing team at Assembled Threads. You know, it's all you. You make us better. You make us better partners. You've made us really think about our processes, all the things that I've heard today around contracts and, you know, payment terms and, just investing in ethical wages, you know, all that type of stuff. So you've really brought us close to the message, which is really great. And you've given us a great quality product, which to Mel Raby's point earlier, you know, lead with that commercial. And I think that's how we have success. So yeah, Edwina, this is all you, our leader, the team. Yeah. What a thrill.
So just for everyone, while we're coming towards the end of the day, what one top tip from each of you for either from a social enterprise perspective, thinking about working in social procurement space, winning contracts, and Nicole, you know, for a business or government procurement team that's thinking about embedding social into their supply chain. What's your tip on how do you make it work? What would you say to other people?
Firstly, I would say that we share this award obviously on behalf of our team, and thank you, but we share it with every single other social enterprise and First Nations enterprise, because we are trying to drive social impact and environmental impact with everything we do. And I know that everyone from a social enterprise in this room knows how difficult that is. So I really do. We share this award with each and every one of you. And I think another thing that was raised here was collaboration. We collaborate with an amazing social enterprise called Cacti Conserve. So he came to us saying, I do safety awnings and tapes, but could you help me develop a product? I want safety eco bunting. I want eco safety flags. And we were able to do that for us. So then if people order from him, they're getting a double whammy. They're getting environment, and then they're getting the social impact and environmental by our team making those products. So as much as you can, just work with like-minded companies and work with companies that share your values. We've found that the hard way, I'm sure many people have, but you really have to go with your gut and trust the companies that have shared values for the partnerships to work.
Brilliant. Thank you. And what about you, Nicole?
Well, look, there's so much that I could say, but I think just start small, grow opportunities, build relationship, align values, and let it grow from there. That's probably my key message for today.
Wonderful, beautiful takeout. Thank you both so much. Huge congratulations. May the work continue.
Thank you.
Well, I want to say a huge congratulations to the Trailblazers of 2023. Thank you, Tara and Jess. Thank you, Wahida from Too Good Co for passing the baton. Thank you to the state leads and the social procurement advisors. And thank you to the game changers of 2023. This has been such a wondrous afternoon of connection and love, and I just hope that it means that you'll kind of float through the next couple of weeks. And back over to you, Miranda.
Thanks so much, Beck. Well, we are nearly at the finish line, and what a way to finish. And once again, a huge congratulations to all of the nominees and the winners and our Trailblazers and Game Changers. Nicole, Edwina, it's been amazing to watch this partnership grow, and I'm just so pleased. So congratulations just from me. Also, a big thank you to all of you who've attended. We understand that 4 hours of your day is a fair whack of time. So really grateful for all of you, for your contributions in the chat, in the Slidos and in the breakout rooms. A huge thank you to all of our guest speakers for participating in these panels and sharing your insights. Again, this is kind of the rich collaborative discussion that just makes working in this sector so fantastic. A big thank you to the Social Traders team for all of the support in putting this event together, and of course to the one and only Selena Arnold, who has done just an insurmountable amount of work to put this together, including overcoming all of the challenges that this tech has with it. A big thank you to Beck Scott for facilitating this with me. I'm very excited for our future event collaborations. The sector's not going to know what's hit it when we start talking the querying of social procurement. And so with that, I'm going to hand you back to Tara, who is going to wrap us up.
Wonderful, thank you. So just a few thoughts to close from me. Saying that the reason that I work at Social Traders is because I and we at Social Traders imagine a world where social enterprise and social procurement are business as usual. Imagine if every business in the economy was a social enterprise or partnering with social enterprise. And our hope is that we'll be looking back years from now, as long as it takes, to talk about that time when business existed just to make profit. And we'll look back and go, wow, that was weird, wasn't it? That's what we're all aiming for in the future world that we're creating together. And we can only do it together. So we'd love to hear one last time your main takeaway from today. We've got a Slido popping up here about the next step that you'll take to grow our collective work, because it takes a village, it takes all of us, and it's all about reaching out to all the people that weren't here today, and all the people that weren't at the Social Enterprise Forum, and all of the people that don't yet know about this exciting thing called social enterprise or social procurement. So drop some thoughts in there. We'd love to hear what you're saying. And while you're doing that, just to echo the thank yous that have been shared, also to Westpac and Westpac Foundation for being our sponsor and a long-term partner, to Social Enterprise Australia and all the state sends for all of the work that we do together and for your part in today and helping us pick those award winners, that big challenging task. Thanks to the governments that are backing social enterprise and to Dr. Daniel Molino for his support in particular, as well as all of the other leaders across government that are backing this work. Shout out to Miranda and Beck for being our hostess with the mostess. Dynamic duo, wonderful to have you both leading us through today. And echo the shout out to the person behind the scenes who's put this whole thing together and dealt with the stress of the tech as it was failing before our eyes, Selena, our event manager. Lots of extra hours went into today, so thank you for that. And personally from me, a heartfelt thank you to the whole Social Traders team. The people that work at Social Traders are incredibly committed and passionate. They go above and beyond every day in the work that they do. And it's a genuine privilege to work with them and to be on that same team. So thank you. So to close, thank you to everyone. We can see some of those thoughts that are coming through there about what we're going to do here. Connect and collaborate, absolutely. Really important next steps for us. And now's the time to be bold and raise the bar. We've got some QR codes we will share, which is, if you're not yet involved in this work and part of the Social Traders community, use some of those to sign up and get involved. And I'll just leave you with one quote from the Social Enterprise World Forum that I wrote down while I was there, which really stuck with me. And this was from one of those big global corporate brands that I was talking about before. And they said, social enterprises demonstrate that a fairer and more sustainable business model is possible. To all social enterprises, our economy, our people, our planet need you. And to all the corporates engaging in this agenda, you're the pioneers. You're changing business from the inside out. Thank you. This is just the beginning. This is our opportunity. Now is the time. We need to have ambition like never before. So let's go forth and do this. Thank you, everyone. leave you with those QR codes from here, and we'll bump into you, no doubt, very shortly out and about in the sector.